Hey people, how's it going? Hope everyone's doing well today. We're about to kick off the Legendary Lords tournament, so it will be just a few minutes. It's going to be a little bit shorter of a stream today. I'm probably not going to go for much longer than the actual tournament does. I've got a lot of other stuff that I have to do as well, but I will have all the replays, and I will definitely carve out some time so that we can go through as many of them as possible, because we get some really wild replays from these tournaments, and it's been a blast the last few times around. Just finished breakfast. Yeah, I just got back myself from the store and eating. So, I'm feeling about as ready as I can be, I think. It's gonna be a little bit weird and messy. Some really talented folks in the tournament today. And we'll see if we can maybe knock off a couple of them. Sipa is playing in the tournament today, which is exciting, because it's a pretty rare day that he comes down from his troll throne to join us commoners to scrap against us. Here, let me... give me a sec, guys. Okay, here we go. Just gotta get everything sorted out for stream ahead of time so that we're not scrambling around and there's not a whole bunch of confusion in the middle of it, because that would be very annoying and unfortunate. So we've got, oh, we got Scrambled Egg here too, as well as Ulrich. Ulrich is a very talented player. Hitman didn't make it, which is a bit of a shame. Always good to play against him. But we got I know you're here, Sharky. I wish you luck in your tournament matches. We can compare and contrast how we end up doing. Hope I don't get you right away. I'm not playing a very strong character, I'm not gonna lie. The Morgur the Shadowgave has a pretty rough starting army. It's an awful lot of Chaos Spawn. The Beastman Chaos Spawn are terrible, but you have to bring 3 of them, and plus the cost of Morgur, so I'm a little worried about how I'm gonna build a strong army in some of the matchups that I might get, because the spawn don't move very quickly. It's going to be a much more static style of Beastman than I'm typically used to. Do tend to prefer something a little bit more aggressive than what I've been offered, but I do have experience with the I am more sleep play style, so maybe I just need to lean back on that a little bit and be a little more discerning about when and where I take engagements. Okay, OG Potato. Never played this person, so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Be sure to go find them and get them in here ASAP. Where the hell are they? People in the Discord are getting real chaotic. Holy crap. Okay. Where's my opponent? I don't even see them in... I don't even see them in here. I'm gonna have to just ask. Alright, well, we've left a message in the Discord. They'll find us, hopefully. We won't have to wait too long for this to get started. Azag's gonna be really fun. I like Azag as a character. He's actually got some moves to him, in my opinion. He's definitely not a sludge. What is going on here? This is bizarre. Why is this bar shorter than the other one on the top? Don't understand. Anyways, let's build up our forces a little bit. We don't really need a call to violence if we've got a whole bunch of spawn. Foe Seeker not that good on Morgar. He didn't move around a whole lot to begin with, so the spawn summons are what you really bring him for. Maybe there are going to be a couple matchups where we need to cut these so that we can fit more into our army. I do like that that's an option on the table. Oh, okay. Cool. Here they are. Oh, it's Blesk from yesterday. Very cool. Welcome, welcome, then. Oh, and it's gonna be Tomb Kings for the first game here, which is gonna be intriguing. I actually really do think that this is going to be a pretty good opportunity for the Beastmen to shine here. I'm a little worried about this forced spawn opener, but, you know, it is what it is. What are you gonna do about it? You got the engagements that you want. Hopefully we can make some good come out of a few of these fights. Maybe we should go really defensive for our build. Actually, don't think that's a terrible idea. Let's cut this guy. Get a couple Goreherd. Goreherd with shields should be able to beat skeleton spears fairly easily. We've got mass, so Cetra has a little bit of a harder time just rushing in and bullying the shit out of us. We could go Lore of Wild with Traderkin. There is a chance that we get a very aggro Tomb Kings opener. Also, who the hell are they playing? Alright, let's actually go see who the heck Potato is on. People are spamming unhinged chicanery in chat, and it's mucking up the works. Oh, okay, so we got High Queen Khalida is going to be our enemy here. Which is going to be interesting. What does Khalida have to bring? Are they? Here they are. So Khalida needs Necropolis Knights, 2 Skeleton Archers, and a Bone Gen. Okay, I think that's fairly doable for the Beastmen, actually. I'm actually not that terribly worried seeing my opponent's requirements. I think we've got a good odds-on chance of being able to get up in the face of our opponent fairly quickly. Maybe putting them under some kind of threat that they might not be able to handle effectively. But we will have to see. I'm not going to take it for granted, that's for sure. And what map are we on? We're on Bordello Land. Oh, no, we got to do the map bans. That's right. There are only 2 rounds here. What's going on? Huh? Got more than, Oh, we do only have, like, 2 rounds. This is gonna be a really short tournament, then. Anyways. Could have sworn it would be a lot more with 16, but I guess it is a single elimination tournament, so it's gonna be, fast and furious. Who's top of brackets? It is I. So I'm banning first. Against the Tomb Kings, I cannot imagine Eastern Isle being a supremely comfortable map. So against Khalida, you do need to be a little careful of her combat prowess, because Khalida is actually fairly strong in terms of her dueling capabilities, which means that my poor little Morgar here is going to need a little bit of assistance from some buddies, or he could just get absolutely clowned on. I would really love to avoid a fate worse than death for him. How big are the Necropolis Knight units again? Okay, 24 models. Good to know. Good to know. Let's get rid of some of these things. Get our army built back out the way we wanted it. We've got a couple ways we can go with the money here, but I think I'm going to add some of these guys in. That'll be a good selection on our magic. We've got more mobility coming in, which is going to be very strong. It is a very foolish endeavor to try and take engagements as the Beastman without having a surfeit of mobile options. You do really need to contest the mobile game if you're going to be winning with this faction. I think we might be playing Dunes of Cain. My opponent doesn't really seem to be all that interested in engaging with the army picker. and going through that whole song and dance. So I think we might just be scrapping there, period. So we'll see how that goes. It's gonna be a very wild map. What else do I need in here? Yeah, we'll get this unit. Okay. Don't think that unit's gonna be super useful. Okay. So let's get dunes going, and then we can just kick it off, I guess. My opponent doesn't want to do the map bans, which is fine by me. I picked a pretty good one. This is fairly balanced for both sides. There's definitely some good business going on here for the Beastmen. And Tomb Kings can definitely get some work done on this map as well, so it's not like horribly unbalanced or anything. It also looks good. It's one of the cooler desert maps in the game, in my opinion at least. Yeah, Korn got knocked out yesterday. Not yesterday, but the last two tournaments. I fumbled with Skulltaker a little bit. I definitely kind of overplayed my hand into the Chaos Dwarves and got punished, and then in the tournament before that, there were a couple of people who got knocked out, so it's a little unfortunate. Just can't survive sometimes. It's a big, sad moment. Are marked units banned from WoC for most tournaments, or it's specific just for this format? It just depends. If marked units are specifically mentioned for a lord's unit choices, then they're banned for that lord, not necessarily for the whole faction. When you're done with this, any chance I can get advice on Beastman Vampire counts? Beastman Vampire count sucks. Beastmen don't have staying power and enough damage to kill all the Vampire count stuff. Like, what are you gonna do against the Vampire counts as Beastmen? Your light armor faction, it just does not have the means to deal with stuff like Blood Knights and Black Knights with lances. Even like the Dire Pack can just rip apart a Centaur unit with a well-timed charge. They've got tons of passive healing. They outnumber you. They can shred all of your light armored units with Scab Scraith from White Kings. That's a matchup that you're just probably going to lose 9 times out of 10 as the Beastmen. It just really is kind of that terrible. There's not a whole lot that you're going to be able to make work there. You would think this is a rush, but the problem is that Beastmen, you know, when you're forced to bring a whole bunch of Chaos Spawn, you've actually got a huge portion of your army that's got to trot into combat behind everybody else. Actually a little bit worried here that it's going to be kind of difficult for me to be able to get up onto the Tomb Kings quickly and kind of shut that Bone Giant down. So we're going to actually play safe with our characters up behind the pillar, and we can just let the Chaos Spawn kind of eat some shots. They're unbreakable. They're, you know, not really all that powerful in terms of the value that they provide. And we're going to, like, build up a little bit and then go for a big Alpha Strike type push to shut down the Bone Giant, because I think that can work. I'm a little bit less certain as to just going, you know, just guts out and rushing really aggressively early on, because I think I could overextend and get hammered really hard by the skeleton horsemen. Alright, just making sure that I've got everything sorted here. And we're ready to kick off. We got Morgur, we got Chaos Spawn into the sunset. Gorbel and some Razor Gore Herd going to be our mass for this side of the battlefield, and we're going to try and do the number 1 and 2 here. We'll see how it actually works out, though. Big core of skeleton horsemen. Let's get this guy behind the pillar, and we're going to move Morgur up behind this much closer one. So Zangors are actually eating the ammunition right now, which is good for me. They're very durable when it comes to surviving poke. They got the barrier, they got the silver shields. 50 armor isn't anything like stupendous. It's not really worth writing home about for sure, but it does definitely help out with your survivability against missile play, because it's ironically enough one of the higher one of the higher armor values on your baseline infantry. So we've got bodies coming in up there. I think I'm gonna actually bring the chariot in so we can get a little bit aggressive up onto the skeleton archers. I think maybe we even do have an opportunity here to go and press the Tomb Kings here, because they don't really have a whole lot to defend the archers with their cavalry all the way out on the side here. It's not very well defended. We might actually leave this Ungor here, though, with a Razor Gore Herd, so they don't just get flattened on the charge. Our opponent's going to pull back, and we'll just post up here. And we'll get our spawn a little bit down in the draw and try to keep them out of the LOS of my opponent here. Push up and in. Gorbel needs to get around the side. It's a really nice shot from the Bone Giant. Huge damage coming out of it here. Let's actually advance up and through a little bit. We're gonna start building our Sensigor force up. Just some shots going down from the Bone Giant. Nothing too severe. We'll keep our chariot safe there. I'm gonna get Morgur and the Razor Gore herds with my boy moving in, and we'll even send Chaos Spawn over. So Senties, I don't want to let them get shot up. We're gonna just kind of retreat back for a moment, and we're gonna get our chariot ready to move in now. So here's the Necropolis Knights. They're gonna be a little bit of a pain. I'll just stop here for a moment. The Bone Giant is like pulling all the way back right now. Get more Senties. We kind of blundered up into our opponent a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay. We can just keep on being aggressive. We're gonna pull back the Gorbel now, actually. Should still be able to kind of pull out of here. The Razor Gore Herd is gonna go down, but we might be able to just keep our opponents playing way back here, and we can even go cap this point. Yeah, those guys all go down. The chariot is in, but it is intercepted by some Ushapti, which is not ideal, so we need to get out of there. I don't know what's going on with my Sensigors, because they were dropping orders and they're not listening to me, which is already, you know, less than enthused start, I would say. And the Necropolis Knights, I think we can actually engage a little bit here. We need to be real careful, because the last thing that I want to allow happen here is to get way overpressed, not have a way to shut down my opponent's missiles here. So Morgur is fighting, and we're going to drop our spawn summon right now, actually. And now we've got all of our Senties in on this flank, and we're going to go quick. So we got an engagement here that's pretty nice. We got the chariots up in the back line, and they're causing some serious problems right now. We will get... yeah, we'll get a throwing axe out. And Morger is kind of happy as a clam. He can just kind of sit and scrap here and not have to worry about anything too much. We have coming in here skeleton horsemen making their way out onto the field. Let's pull back. Let's pull back. Let's bait the horsemen in as much as possible. So my opponent's coming really quick up here with all of those bodies. We do outspeed the skeleton horsemen a little bit. We should be able to pull them into a really nice fight here for myself. Let's get up around the flank. We got those shut down. Need to get the chariots moving again. I've been a little bit lax on the micro with those, which is a little bit disappointing. You got to be a little bit more, you know, aggressive, I would say. Let's collapse on these guys. We got the spawn grinding and still doing some good damage. We just need to get these chariots going, get the spawn around the back here into this fight, because we can't leave them idle for too long. I'm playing a little bit too slow right now. I definitely need to ratchet up the aggression and tempo a little bit more. We do have the Sensigors doing some great damage. We've got the Gorbel just kind of doing his thing and just pounding away on stuff. We're going to get on top of that guy now. Can't really engage Khalida. We've gotten some good damage out on the infantry here. We need to kill the Nekakara warriors because they are actually a big problem. And we're grinding back a little bit of value. We've got our opponent pressed all the way up into the backfield where they really are not able to get a whole lot of value right now. We have ground down quite a bit of our opponent's army here, which is pretty sick. We're going to get our Bray Shaman in next. Or we may pull in some infantry out onto the flank over here, because we have lost our Zangors. We've got a little bit of a, you know, pressed situation developing there. Morger is holding up really nicely, and let's try to get these Sensigors away and then figure out how to break down the mobility. Or maybe a slightly more advantaged front and angle. Let's get those chariots in. Or we can use the chariots to come and hammer the Nekakara warriors that are all bunched up there. We got our caster out now, so that's good. We're going to be able to come in and start dropping a little bit of magic and spell casting. Our poor boy Morger is doing his best. He's struggling a little bit. He definitely is a little worse for wear in terms of HP, but he is alive and somewhat thriving, I would say. Bone Giant's pretty beat up now. And we still got spawn over here. We need the chariot free so it can run down these damn skeleton archers. I actually think Purple Sun Azirius is worth the effort here. Morger just needs to keep scrapping. We just need to keep the Ushabti pinned up here. We did delete our own guys a little bit, but, you know, it is what it is. We got huge damage off on those Tomb Guard, which is pretty nice for us. And we're going to unsummon all these guys. We need to make sure that we have summons for the late game. And we'll bring in another throwing axe here, because they're a very strong skirmish tool. They can definitely keep motoring and moving for quite a bit longer here. And Morger is somehow still alive. He's hanging in really nice. I'm very happy for him. I definitely need him to keep doing his thing here. I'd love to get Khalida down. Chariots get a little stuck, but we're going to maneuver around. We've got position secured. We'll get infantry there. Our opponent just hasn't been able to break out of this pocket. It's just been stuck back here the entire game. And that's not really a great spot to have to persist in as the Tomb Kings. Getting pinned up and not being able to maneuver around effectively is kind of a death sentence for them oftentimes. Because they're just a little slow and unmaneuverable. these guys going to go down anytime soon? Still hanging in, just barely alive. So we got Morger and the Gorbel. Gorbel and Morger have held up really nicely for me. It's given me the opportunity to be able to maneuver around off of them fairly well. This Razor Gore Chariot, 349 kills here. We'll just stay engaged on Khalida here. She's really not going to be able to escape anywhere. I think maybe the Zangor out here on the number 3 could help grind that skeleton warrior down. Throw some axes. Keep Khalida pinned in. Hit her with another Spirit Leech. Please let me Spirit Leech her. What the hell is... Can I click on her? Okay, we gotta go in there. We'll own some of these guys. We've got these dudes that can just charge this down. We've got a pretty good fight, but we do probably want to pull back a little bit because there are some Skelly Horsemen coming after those guys. We just kind of ground down the Tomb Kings here. They got pressed back really hard. The Bone Giant got some good shots in, but once Morger kind of got on top of it, it wasn't very impactful from there on out. The Necropolis Knights also did not do well at all. They only got 482 value, and they're a very expensive unit. No magic from my opponent either. The Lich Priest was never able to make his way out onto the field. It's a bit of a shame. In the Chaos Spawn, you can see here they got next to no value. They were absolutely useless for the most part. The Mage was nice. Throwing Axes did get good value. The Chariot was super important, and the Centigores were okay as well. There's definitely a few things that I could have done a little bit smoother. All in all, though, I would say that went about as well as could be asked for. Considering the build that we had. Buna does do work into Blood Knights, but your opponent's just going to invo Blood Knights if you hit them with that. Speaking from experience, the best thing you can do as the Beastman into Vampire counts is go like full mobility and just cycle charge endlessly as much as possible and get on points and snatch them away from the bad cap weight that Vampire counts are going to have to leave behind on some of those objectives. LOL. What happened, Sharky? Alright, well, we've eliminated old Khalida, which is all well and good. Guess we should go check bracket and see where we stand now. We're probably going to be playing Gondola, who is really strong as an opponent. Where the hell are the Tomb Kings? There they are. Alright, so Beastie Boys over Tomb Kings. We're waiting on Hesha and Gondola to finish their game. Just below us, Sipa beat Gepard. And Ulrich Rawl and Ricochet are scrapping. Rowdy actually beat Scrambled Egg. No way. Huge upset. Rowdy should be feeling chuffed right now because Scrambled Egg is one of the best players in the game. Oh, that's okay. I mean, it is what it is. The map pool for round 1 was pretty damn strong. Any of the maps would have been okay for the most part. Y'all sorted it out well enough, I'm sure. Straight line maps for Bretonnia are fairly good for them because of their cavalry. But you can actually cut off a lot of space on those kinds of maps, so that Bretonnia doesn't have easy ways to maneuver around the objectives anymore. Oh yeah, beautiful. Thank you for the replays, guys. So, are they ready for this next round? If we are playing Beastmen into Slaanesh, then we've pretty much already lost because it's a miserable matchup. Oh man. Oh, it's it's either Nakari. We either have to fight Nakari or we have to fight frickin' Helman Gorst. I mean, Gorst would probably be fairly doable against or 4 Beastmen, just relatively, but goddamn, that's gonna suck. See what we can figure out. Alright guys, give me a minute. I'm gonna run to the restroom and I'll be right back. We can do some of the replays maybe, depending on how long our opponent for the next round takes. Okay, guys. Alright, so what's going on? Yeah, open maps for Bretonnia against artillery factions can be miserable. I actually don't hate it, though, for Khorne. Khorne actually has some good biz that they can keep on points and force bad engagements from Bretonnia. Beastman has Jabberslythe. They're pretty good into vampire counts. That's true. Jabberslythes are pretty decent, but they also have fairly low armor that Blood Knights can take advantage of. Is our opponent here? No. Are they done? Surely. Alright, I don't know what's going on with Gondola and Hesha. Just gonna ask them. Give them a minute. I'm gonna download the replays, and I'll make sure that they're in the folder for when we're geared up to actually get into all of them. And data, roaming, creative assembly, Warhammer 3, and finally replays. So there we go. Bam. Oh, god damn it. Okay. Let's see what happens with, let's see what happens here. I think we're gonna get absolutely dunked on by Gondola, because they're playing, vampire counts, I'm pretty sure. And Beastman into vampire counts is just such a bad matchup, dude. Okay, let's get them in here. Let's take our loss while we're ready. I have no freaking idea how the Beastmen are supposed to beat the vampire counts with a bunch of chaos spawn available for the army. I am skeptical, to say the least, of my odds here. Let's get a Bray Shaman in here. We're gonna go with some of this business, I guess. Doesn't seem terrible. What does Gondola have to bring? As Helman Gorse. 3 Crypt Ghouls and a Black Coach. Okay. I actually think that is something we can handle. Three Crypt Ghouls. Crypt Ghouls are not that scary. The Black Coach is kind of scary because it can run over like decent infantry for the Beastmen and do a lot of damage to them. See about finding some kind of way to keep ourselves from getting totally flattened and pincushioned early on. What about this? Hold on. I'm fiddling around with the build a little bit, guys. Bear with me for a moment while I just get this last little bit sorted out here and figure out what the hell I'm gonna do into my opponent here. It's definitely not gonna be an easy match. Like I said, Gauntlet is really good. We got a very, 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 very tall hill to climb on this one. So Zarnagrund Rebellion has been banned. We are going to ban probably Maelstrom. Glade of the Everqueen, actually. Jabber plus Blood Brute. No pressure. Don't worry about it. No, Gorst doesn't have to take Hex Wraiths, does he? Did I just totally miss that? Yeah, no, he doesn't have Hex Wraiths. That's Kemmler. I wish I could afford the Jabber Scythe and the Blood Brute. No worries, brother. So Whirling Maelstrom's banned, Zarnagrund is banned, Glade of the Everqueen is banned. We've got Sunken Mire or Proving Grounds. I don't know which is going to be better for me. I think Sunken Mire might actually be slightly advantaged for me as opposed to Proving Grounds. Proving Grounds is a big map, but the actual battle area is fairly small. I think Sunken Mire is going to work out nicer. Is there anything that I want to change here for my army? Maybe just a couple of things. God, is this going to be the right spell kit? Perhaps. Death magic, probably not going to be enough. Wild magic, definitely not good enough. This is about as good as it's going to get, I think. We're just going to have to play a very long, patient game. Hit and run as much as possible, and just try and stay alive, I guess. I have no idea how we're going to actually manage that, but that's kind of the position we're forced into. This does have a home objective on it, but it's actually a very nice map for maneuverability on the Beastman side of things. You got these big forests out on the flanks that I can kind of bunker up into if I need, because I have the advantage of woodsman on all my units, while my opponent is just doesn't have that going for him. If I can maybe drag some of the units for the vampire counts into the forests and get good engagements on them, I can steal the dub here. Nice small army. We're going to just stack Chaos Spawn on top of Bestigors and see what happens here. We'll send Morgar up there. The Centaurs will go for the number 3. We'll get the Bestigors out on the number 3 as well, and we'll just rotate wherever we need to. We need to be aggressive with all of our stuff. We can't take any breaks in this matchup. Just going to give my opponent a couple more seconds here. He's got 18 units, so it's a, you know, pretty typical army for the undead. They've got a lot of units in reserve, though, which is what I'm very curious about. Like, I don't know what the quality of their back half is going to look like. I think what we're going to do is get the Sons of Goros out, and then another Centaur of Tzeentch, and then we go for our caster, and then the throwing axes. If we need to retreat and just bunker up on objective number 2 here, we can always try and go for that also. No idea what my opponent has yet. Obviously, Helman Gorse is here, and the 3 Crypt Ghouls. Plus whatever, well, yeah, the Black Coach is the other thing. I actually don't think the Black Coach will be very impactful as long as I keep my Chaos Spawn and Bestigors together. The 2 of these should be stalwart enough that my opponent is just not going to be able to break through them without an exceptional amount of effort that just is ultimately going to be fairly self-defeating. That's kind of what I'm banking on. We got a unit being summoned in over here. Not one hundo on what it is. Come on, cap this, please. There we go. We got it. Move over. We're going to get the Sons of Goros out, and we're going to look to get aggressive with our mobility. Just right out the gate. So there's spears, not super surprising. Here are the Crypt Ghouls. We're going to actually charge these guys down because we're going to do horrendous damage to them on the charge, and now we're just going to run away before they get through the barrier. And that's a nice little chunk of change. Took out, you know, almost 1,500 HP, right? Even more, 2,500 HP lost on the Crypt Ghouls there. Oh, Cairn Wraiths coming out onto the field. Alright, kind of cool. There's more Crypt Ghouls. We're going to see if we can, like, bait a charge here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, they're coming. Let's get the Sons of Goros over here now. My opponent's not falling for the bait, so we're just going to be patient. We're going to keep zipping around, and it doesn't seem like my opponent's interested in the side points, so let's just keep being disruptive as much as possible. The more time we spend hit and running the front line here, the more time we have to get this Bestigor and Chaos Spawn over. My opponent did not brace the Spearmen, so we're going to get away now. Do the same over here. Well, the Königstein Stalkers are probably going to be a slightly better bet for doing some good chunking damage in the front line. Just need to keep going, keep going. I think we're actually going to do a sneaky little rotation here. The big problem is Helmengorst has the Mortis Engine, which I'm a little bit worried about. That is actually going to be fairly dangerous to contend with. It's certainly not ideal. I'm going to go for this back objective. We're going to pull back here. Let's send Morgur forward. He's going to hammer in a little bit. Got a little bit of damage going here. The Cairn Wraiths are on their way in, and they're going to be really freaking annoying to have to handle. I don't know what happened there. Absolutely abysmal charge. No damage going off right now. Let's just fight these Cairn Wraiths as best we can, I guess. We're gonna get this Cryptar for sure. Or the Crypt Ghouls, I should say. We're gonna charge this unit down now. Morgur is in a little bit of trouble, but we can summon the spawn to help him out. That should be pretty nice. Let's go roaring over these guys here. Let's pull back here. Let's engage here. Ooh! Let's kill the Black Coach. My opponent's gonna cap this point. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. I mean, it's screwed. There's no way I'm gonna be able to save it. But we can start bringing in some throwing axes now, and maybe we can start getting a little bit of momentum in the damage department here, which could end up being really nice. Let's get out. Let's go here. Let's hammer home. Keep going. Yeah, we killed the Black Coach. It's 100% dead now. We're going to keep our mobility moving. We're going to get another throwing axe out over here. See what we can do to hammer these guys. The value trading is going okay for me, but it could be a little bit better. I would really love to see a nice little bit of melting damage on some of these annoying units over here. I'm really tired having to deal with just about a gorillion enemy units up in my grill. Crumbling as much of this stuff out as possible is going to be massive for me. So we're just continuing to fight on this objective. Let's see if we can hammer Gorst here. Let's get Morgur back in there. Let's get back over. Let's get out here. More damage, more value trading. Still probably not enough is the big problem because, you know, Gorst is still hanging around. He's still being a huge butthole that I just don't have enough tools to deal with currently. We did grind down the Crypt Horrors over here, which is massive win for us. Absolutely ginormous, man. Let's keep away. You can see my opponent is getting a little antsy, it seems. Oh no, Morgur actually is getting bullied by the White Kings. Oh my god. Frickin' Morgur. Maybe we can hammer the back of this a little bit and do a little bit of effort in saving our boy. So, Gorst is actually pretty beat up. The issue is that I, obviously do still have to actually kill this guy. He is fairly stalwart in terms of his leadership and, the goods he's got going for him. Keep dropping all this business. Let's hit these guys while they're exposed out on the edge of the fight there. Oh, we gotta get away from those Cairn Wraiths. Hide our lord here. Let's maneuver around. Let's get over here. My Bray Shaman just broke because he is a huge coward, apparently. Which is just absolutely not ideal. Oh, I don't know if I've got the goods here. I don't know if I've got the goods. It's just too much to get through. See, this is like the age-old problem for the Beastmen, man. They just don't have enough tools to kill everything that they need to rip apart, right? Like, the vampire counts can just summon out garbage for 50 years. That has oodles of regeneration, just tons and tons and tons of punching power. That takes, like, 10 million years to actually wear out. Let's hammer what's on the side point over here. Send as much as we can over. Can we hit Gorst, please? I'm begging you guys to finish Gorst off. If we can just somehow kill Helman Gorst, maybe we can figure out a way to win this game. Okay, so we're just slowing the cap down here. We haven't actually killed any of these ghouls, but we're going to work on that. We'll send Morgur over there. We're going to get the charge off. It's going to be good damage. We're going to move these guys out over here. We're going to continue to rotate back over and try and save this objective. Need to pull away. We got a million skeleton warriors, which I don't have, like, any real answers for. Gorst has 1,500 value, thereabouts. We've got nothing to summon in right now. I'll have to be bringing in my Crocs, Man Rippers, and all that business in a moment. Whether it's going to be good enough to make any kind of impact, we're just going to have to wait and see for a minute here. Let's get these guys away. Let's get these guys all back so they can cycle charge again. Let's come riding down the hill. We got a really good engagement on these stupid crypt ghouls. And our Centigores are all chilling here. Let's get them forward and try and kill that bad man. Let's kill the bad man. Let's kill Helman Gorst. Let's get our Koroks Man Rippers back in. Maybe in the second wind, they'll be a lot stronger. That's kind of what I'm hoping for here. Let's just keep charging down the Skelly Warriors. More Crypt Horrors coming up. Still looking for a way to finish off the stinky guy. I think we can actually hit him here. Let's get our Centaurs and Zangors going to try and cap this back point, along with all of these guys. I see my opponent is just trying to preserve him as best as possible. Let's hammer here. I'll pull back. I think those guys are exposed on the flank here. Maybe we can hammer them too. Bestigor herd, maybe a little bit of a weird, awkward summon. A bit off-center, I would say. Orger's actually going to wait in the wings over there. Let's get all these guys out. Let's get some magic going on the Crypt Ghouls, I guess. Let's pull these guys away. Don't really want them just grinding into spears for forever. Alright, good damage. Korok's Man-Rippers. A little bit of a lapse in micro on my part there. Helmengorst is still alive, which is a big problem. I'm kind of running out of time here. I mean, I don't have a tremendous amount to work with. I would really like to get this point. And to just keep hammering all of these units, because I think I can break all this garbage down if I just have a little bit more time here. You got a Gaze and a Gash going down. That does a little bit of damage, but nothing too serious. We're going to hit these Cairn Wraiths. We're going to pull back with these guys. We're going to just pile in and just keep bulldozing all these units until hopefully we have finished them all off. Dangle Helmengorst, man. Come on. Get them, guys. Please, I'm begging you. All my stuff is getting terrified, which is not ideal. I need the triple cap, and I just don't see myself being able to get that. It's a little frustrating. Is Gorst dead? He is barely hanging on. Like, 1 HP practically. Maybe with better, I mean, maybe with some, like, better, micro on throwing axes, I could have gotten it done here. But I just don't know about that. I've still got to cap this point, and I don't have a way to kill the damn White Kings. And they're like 6 cap weight between the two of them. There's a hell of a lot more than I'm prepared to deal with still at this late stage of the game. My opponent's just going to bunker up on this back objective, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's just so much healing, dude. What do you do against all that?
You have the foe's victory point.
Maybe a couple Ungor Raiders would have helped. But I just don't know where I fit them into this build, because the hit and run has been the part of this that has worked. Everything else has been pretty piss poor, honestly. Let's get over there. Let's get these guys up. Let's get just piles and piles of dudes, and we've got our engagement on this back point that we just basically have to hard commit to and can't quite grab from my opponent. Let's try and push these guys past. The Korok's Man-Rippers were mediocre, I think. And you can see all the Centaurs just get broken up. I mean, the bodies are too many.
There is only defeat.
Can only wade through so many undead forces. Did I seriously screen block the whole fucking game? Oh my god. Amazing. Oh, alright guys. Well, I'll go back and this can just be our first replay. God damn it. Of course I managed to pull it off on stream. Incredible. Amazing. Yeah, that's my bad. I just completely forgot to swap over away from the screen blocker. So we'll do this game first. I got stunted on, honestly. Although my a lot of my cows did pretty well. Damnation, dude. Did I save the replay? Pretty sure I did. Yeah, I did. Alright, guys. Let's just go ahead and watch it. I mean, it would have been nice to have actually had it live. Don't look at my game, bro. Don't look at my stream. I'm embarrassed by my stream here. Kidding me? I'm out here forgetting to set screen blockers back to the default. Just big time forehead plays. So I'm just motoring forward, you know, my opponent's sitting over here, he's got Gorse, he's got the White Kings, Conic Sign Stalker, Zombies, Crypt Ghouls, Crypt Horrors, all the old standbys. I mean, it's just a massive 19 unit army. It's actually a fair amount of cap weight. Over here, the Crypt Ghouls get hammered by the Cynagors of Tzeentch. Actually chunking their HP down by a decent amount. Bestigors in the Chaos Spawn, holding on the number 2, or on the number 3 technically. Number 1 and 2 right across from one another. Pulling back the Centaurs because I didn't want to get overly aggressive and get a 1200 gold unit trapped. They've done a decent amount of damage early on. We're just going to look for a little bit of damage against these White Kings. I didn't really have great tools against these guys. Definitely one of the weaker points of my build, but I didn't have a lot of money to work with. So just trying to find the value where I can. I get a nice charge onto the Skeleton Spears here, actually. Unbraced, and they just eat a ton of damage there. Just a full 3,000 off of their HP total. Conic Sign Stalkers, backed up by some Skeleton Spears, also getting hammered. Another good chunk of damage on them, but you can see Gorst being nearby. They're starting to get some of the passive healing going. That Vigor Mortis is such a pain in the ass, and that is what the Beastmen typically have the worst time handling. It's very difficult to get through all of these passives that the Vampire Counts are able to throw out. So we just got the Bestigors and the Chaos Spawn. Going to be trying to hold on the number 2. Morgur is mixed in here with his 6,000 HP and solid stats. I'm hoping that he can do some good work, but, you know, 15 armor into the 90 armor. Super high melee attack and melee defense. White Kings is kind of scary. It's not really where he wants to be engaged. We get a good charge off on Helm and Gorse, though, and do a nice little bit of damage. Scab Scraith just tickling my forces, and we're still cycle charging out here on the flank. Crypt Ghouls getting progressively lower and lower, while the Bestigors and Chaos Spawn that were on the number 3 are moving up to the number 1. I think I probably should have just pulled off of the number 2 entirely with Helm and Gorse coming over here. He's got this Mortis engine, and you can see it starting to leech down the Korok's Man-Rippers as he's getting engaged in combat. It will continuously proc as long as he is fighting on top of something. Crypt Ghouls continuing to get hammered, Sons of Goros pulling them back with the Cynagors of Tzeentch, just continuing to cause problems for my opponent. And we do kill the hell out of these Crypt Ghouls. They go down really hard, but you can see the value is not looking to be particularly great for me. The Chaos Spawn are fighting with their brethren here, but not getting a lot of value, and the Koroks Man Rippers are really not holding up their end of the bargain. I thought they'd be a little bit stronger in the sustained fight, because they do have good stats, but it's this Reliquary Corruption that's really starting to add up. You can see it starting to chunk the HP down on my poor Bestigors. Cycle charging a little bit more, maybe just foregoing mobility entirely is the way to go. We get a really good isolation on the Black Coach. I mean, it's just caught out in the middle of nowhere with Cynagors of Tzeentch all over it, so it goes down really hard here. Continuing to grind as best we can, but we got a bunch of chaff that we're having to chase down, and Morgur getting the brakes beaten off of him by the damn White Kings here. I mean, they've gotten about 450 value on one, 650 on the other. Chaos Spawn Summon doing some work, a little bit of steady and consistent damage, while the other ones are going down and not really contributing a whole bunch. Really awesome surround here for me. I'm getting a nice chunk of damage on all of these surrounded undead units. Even the skeleton spears here are struggling to do a whole lot. You can see some of the Cynagors are getting beat up a little bit, but some of that's the Direwolves. The spears are a lot less effective than you would think, as long as you're hitting and running against them. They don't typically rack up tremendous value. We're pulling back a little bit, but we do need to kill the Direwolves, so I just wheel about, and we're going to charge them down and see if we can finish those guys off. Very small value lead, but a big collapse on this middle point. Gorst were hammering with the throwing axes now, which is amazing for me. You can see the Cynagors here starting to rack up some decent value as they just try to kill this guy. I send Morgur back in for seconds, which is going to be a big mistake, because White Kings are a little bit too much for him to handle, apparently. I really thought that that wouldn't be nearly as bad of a fight as it ended up being, but clearly I massively underestimated them. And I don't have a way to punish the blobs. I should have brought a Deathcaster with Purple Son of Xerius, because this kind of shenanigans is how you lose games on Beastmen, because you just can't kill all of this with all of the healing that's provided by the Unholy Lodestones. It adds up way too quickly. Plus, you've got Invocations of Nehek constantly being procced, and it's a little bit more than I'm able to handle right now. We do have the #1 objective. The Bray Shaman is fighting over here, getting a little bit of value. We're going to be popping some Melkoths and other spells on the Sternsmen and doing what we can. Chaos Spawn over here have actually gotten some good value. Can't really say the same for the others. Pretty much everywhere else they've been a lot worse off. The throwing axes are continuing to hammer the bad boy in the middle here, but he's just so hard to kill. He's got all of these passives going. He's got the Unholy Lodestone, Master of the Dead, Regen, he can heal himself as at will. He's got the Liber Noctis for some more Winds of Magic as well. There's another really annoying thing that he's able to throw out with gusto. Cynagor's here being collapsed on by the Cairn Wraiths, which isn't ideal, and my caster just breaks randomly. Not loving that he's fighting all these undead targets. So he's going to be running away for the moment here. Cynagors of Tzeentch continuing to hammer, and they do have pretty decent value, but I'm just not able to break these positions. Sons of Goros with about 923 value. Cynagors with throwing axes doing some good damage. Cynagors with the throwing axes here, hitting the Cryptars, trying to focus Hellman, but he's a little bit too protected in the middle of that blob. Not a whole lot of opportunities to do much damage to him. Zangor's trying to grapple with the Cairn Wraiths so that I can finish these guys off. Zangors obviously have magic damage, so they're fairly effective against these ethereal ghosty boys, and they are pulling them apart a little bit. But those Cairn Wraiths did get their value back, which is not a great sign for me. And the Sternsmen are a little bit too chunky in the middle. I really thought that I would see more mobility from the Vampire Counts, but instead they just went with a million bodies. And the Shadow's magic, as a result, isn't all that effective. I really probably needed Pit of Shades. Because the thing about this is that there's really not much here except for just a bunch of crappy infantry. And one good Pit of Shades onto the middle of all of this would probably crumble out all of the remaining zombies and a lot of the Crypt Ghouls, and then some of the Skeleton Warriors that are sitting in there. And that would give me more of an angle to hammer down the Cryptors here. You can see my opponent secured a double cap, going for the triple, but we are getting some nice charges over on this side of the field. You can see the Centaurs just steamrolling over the Crypt Ghouls right now, brutalizing them on the charge over and over again. Not really a whole lot that the Vampire Counts can do about that. They just kind of have to sit there and eat it. Bestigor Herd moving across the field now. We get the Direwolves caught out a little bit, and we're going to be able to punish them here, while the Centaurs of Tzeentch didn't really pile into combat. I don't know what the hell happened with them, but they just kind of stopped up and didn't end up going much of anywhere. Melkoths just to slow down the Crypt Ghouls while we get the front and rear charge on them, cleaning them up fairly efficiently, and Morgur is going to hang out on the number 3 objective, and we're going to hammer the Skeleton Warriors for a little bit here. Gorst is alive. My throwing axes are moving back in. 2 of them are out of ammo. They've gotten good value. You got 1,200 on this one, 722 on the other. We're going to use them in the late game to try and ride down some of the bodies and infantry. And these throwing axes kind of wasting their ammo a little bit. I want to shoot at Helmengorst, but again, I'm still finding it hard to get great angles on them. You can see a whole volley goes in from these guys, and pretty much every single one of those shots misses there. Zangor's moving around the outside, not paying off very well. Again, the durability issues for the Beastmen infantry rearing their head. I thought the Bestigors could hang in a little better with the armor. Just don't know what it is. It just feels cursed for the infantry. They either get hammered by Scab Scraith from the White Kings, or they get hit by Mortis Engines, or there are other spells like Wind of Death that can chip them down. There's just so much that I have to worry about. Korok's Manripper's coming back in. Didn't do too hot that first time around, but looking for a little bit of redemption here. Finding an angle onto Helmengorst now, and actually taking about 600 HP off of the Stinky Man there. So we're going to keep hammering those ghouls and goblins. Skeleton Warriors taking massive chunk of damage from the Centaurs. Once again, just staying on the move and hit and running has paid off pretty well for me. You can see continually chunking down the isolated infantry. They're not hanging in all that well. It's just the cheapness of the bodies with all of these skeleton spears, and then just successive waves of Crypt Ghouls has been enough cap weight to really keep me from being able to angle my way back onto the points and start stealing them from my opponent. Throwing axes jumping into the trees a little bit. They were a little bit out of position, not really in the best of spots. Helmengorst with a Gaze and a Gash is going to hit the Sons of Goros in the back here. Cryptors we are struggling to finish. They've gotten some pretty good value. You can see it almost paying for themselves here. It's Kieran Wraith back out on the field getting hammered by all the magic damage that I've got, because I do have quite a few Centaurs of Tzeentch, but they're all very low now. They've been cycle charging all game. And the value on them is respectable, but it's not quite enough of an uptrade for it to be really worth it for me. And here again, Helmengorst is just continuing to drain the life out of everything in here, plus heal cap all of the Vampire Count's units on the number 2 objective. Once more wishing that I had better magic options. I think I'd just leave Enfeebling Foe off. I'd bring Melkoths and then Pit of Shades to punish the blobs. You know you're going to see blobs against the Vampire Counts. I really should have been better prepared for it. Even if my opponent did bring like tons of Blood Knights, I do still have a lot of AP Cavalry. I really could have probably handled them just fine if I played a little bit more light on my feet. More charges from Sentis, continuing to try and swing this. We do finally get rid of Helman Gorst here. We do have Chaos Spawn on the objective now with some Bestigor herds, and you can see we're flipping the cap weight here. But the situation is just too dire. We're at 1,400 tickets from my opponent. All of the Centigors over here are finally broken. They held for so long. This Centigor of Tzeentch got 2,500 value. This one with 1,272. Sons of Goros with, or actually just another Centigor of Tzeentch. With 1,500, this is the Sons of Goros, barely paying for themselves. My other Centigors waiting in the wings, looking to do the dirty to my opponent as best I can here. So, picking the side that's weakest just to finish off some of the infantry here. Any less cap weight on the #1 objective is super critical right now. I have to find a way to get this point, but I just don't have a lot available. I don't want to move Morgur off this point because I'm afraid of Crypt Ghouls coming and just stealing that away without any kind of cap weight. They're very affordable, so my opponent could just throw them out at any time. The Chaos Spawn are moving out. We do have a nice hold on the #2, but the White Kings being on this objective still means I just can't leave the point. Like, I'm stuck fighting here for just way too long, and my opponent is able to clutch out the single cap win on me here in the late game. So that's what you all missed. That was the non-Asmer tournament experience there. Who takes Blood Knights these days? Yeah, Bestigors are a pretty rough unit to have been bringing into Gorst. Mass Archers. Mass Archers I've never found to work against the Vampire Counts. I've tried Mass Ungor Raiders into them, but they just get dunked on by Scab Scrape. They take horrible casualties from it. There's no advantage to having the Ungor Raiders in my experience. They just get run down by the bodies. They can't keep themselves safe. You can only cycle charge so much to keep enemies off of them. And the other big problem was the Chaos Spawn. I mean, one of them was doing okay, but they were just so sad, honestly. And Morgur wasn't too much better. I mean, he's a 1,600 gold lord, and he gets about 600 on the best of days. So he's just leaving so much on the table. Again, though, I do think it was winnable, but my my magic choices were not it. I needed the blob punish, and I didn't have it available, which is my own damn fault. Another time, another day. I think Purple Sun and Xerius would have Spirit Leech would have helped finish off Gorst, and then Xerius would have been able to clear out the bodies that might be left over. So if I'm ever gonna get a play into the Gortys engine against the Vampire Counts, that's what I'm going for next time. We can take a look at what happens when Gorst runs into Nakari. I don't understand how the hell this ended up going in Gondola's favor, but nonetheless, that is kind of what we're potentially looking at, what we are looking at here. This was the round 1 game. And I'm curious to see how Slaanesh is going to potentially be falling here. Because Nakari is a nightmare for the vampire counts to stop. He's got incredible mass. He's got, what, 4,500, I believe? 4,000, so it's not quite as good as I was thinking. Still more than enough to push around most units. White Kings are on horseback, though. So maybe these guys are going to be going in and kind of nipping at the heels of our big, long boy with the claws. Kari's going to be moving up to the number 2 objective. Looking to hang on to that, we've got devoted Marauders of Slaanesh moving in with the Hell Scourges. You know, the whips. Very solid infantry unit. They've got ITP, so they're not going to be terror routing at any point. Demonettes, obviously, they don't terror route because they're demonic. We'll see how the Demonettes do. Demonettes tend to be pretty terrible compared to something like an Exalted Demonette or Forsaken for the same price point. The Forsaken just have better survivability. Pretty sure you have to bring 2 Demonettes with Nakari, though. They could get in and maybe chew on some of the zombies or something like that. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility for a standard Demonette to get some decent value here. They just have to work really hard. And their best targets are like the White Kings and the Crypt Ghouls, and that's really about it. Their AP is just very superfluous to what you need to do against the vampire counts for the most part. There's a few armored targets, but don't typically see them too terribly often. Nakari just gets absolutely hammered by that Gaze and a Gash. Playing passively with Nakari is not usually going to work out great for you. So expensive, you really need him to get in and find some kind of way that he can just cycle charge units down. He does pretty effective damage just by motoring through the side of units and then rotating out. So that's kind of what I'm expecting Otto to start doing here in a moment, but just playing very passively, waiting for the vampire counts to move up into him, hanging on to the 2 and the 3 here. Vampire counts don't really have a very clean way to maneuver up onto here without splitting their forces in a way that might leave them dangerously open to the Marauder Horsemen getting around the flank and really chipping away at them. White King's pulling back. Nakari still waiting, still holding off from doing much of anything right now. Look at the value on Gorst. He got 1 Gaze and a Gash off and got 600 value out of it. That is crazy business, man. Nakari is so expensive. It is 1,500 HP off of him. And you get another Gaze and a Gash coming in, it looks like. Another huge chunk of HP out of our big boy here. Down to 5,000 HP right off the rip, too. Pretty ugly position for him to be in. You got the devoted Marauders just kind of holding up the advance here as best they can. Cryptars are engaging in a pretty clean frontline fight. Not a lot of anti-large here to punish them, so they're kind of getting away with murder right now. Forsaken, honestly the Forsaken you can maneuver out here, and you do get a great Pavane on Helman Gorst. He does get rampaged, but you don't get an incredibly decisive engagement against him. Nakari waits a little too long, I would say, before he gets in on Gorst. Gorst is going to be able to pull back, and he just pops Invo, and then he's going to have all of his other passive sources of healing going at the same time. And he will be heal capping pretty quickly here, so he will be fairly low, but you can see there is a bit of a breakthrough going on. The devoted Hellscourge Marauders are just not holding up against all of the monstrous infantry and Crypt Ghouls that they're having to fight. It's a little bit too much for them to contend with. I'm not 100% sold on the Marauder Horsemen fighting all the way out on the side over here. Crypt Horrors are a great target for the Javelins. The Javelins are very accurate. And against the 30 armor, the Crypt Horrors, they can really chunk them down quite quickly. Hellstriders are engaging against the bodies here, trying to hold them off also. Very expensive unit to be committing up in here, though. 725 gold. Hellstriders waiting in the wings, not really active or doing a whole lot right now. And the Vampire Counts do grab the number 2 objective. They've got Crypt Ghouls up on the point. They've got the Crypt Horrors kind of poking their toes onto it. Looks like a lot of the infantry for the Vampire Counts over here are actually able to get their toes on. And that's why they were able to kind of grab this away from our Slaaneshi champion here. Nakari is just continually being kept at bay. I mean, he's just not fighting at all, really. I know you don't want to get overwhelmed by the White Kings and the Vargulfs, but Nakari's heals here would be so instrumental to, you know, increasing his HP total, obviously. He's got Soul Siphon, which is really strong against wavering units, and just throwing Seekers up into the Meat Grinder is really not quite ever going to be the ticket for success. It's a 1,000 gold unit, and they don't do a lot of damage in a head-up charge anymore. It used to be that Seekers would just delete things no matter what happened. But nowadays, these Seekers are a lot more honest, and they really do need to get Devastating Flanker off if they're going to be killing anything. You can see Gorst getting handled here. Nakari is doing a pretty good job of wearing him out. If he could get the kill on Gorst and then get the heal and squeak away and find some more tattered units that Slaanesh can kind of chew on, that's how you could get back in this, but it looks like Nakari's going to crumble out. Only 1,200 HP. The passivity here, I think, is what kind of got him in a hole, because it gave time for Gorst to drop 2 really huge gazes of Nagash. And the HP loss on Nakari there was almost 4,000 health. Well, actually, maybe closer to 3,000, but... And definitely leaving him close to half HP when you really need him to be juiced to the absolute gills in this particular matchup. He's got to do so much work. He's got to Mortis Engine a lot of stuff. He's got to get heals. He's got to kill your opponent's characters. And he's got to figure out a way to do it before there's so much mass that he can't maneuver around anymore. All the Crypt Horrors make it very difficult to actually get in on the juicy innards that is Helman Gorst and the White Kings. You see the Crypt Horrors are taking some damage from the Hellstriders here, but there's not enough support, and there's multiple units here, backed up by a few Crypt Ghouls and the White Kings, so... despite the Hellstriders getting some decent damage on the Crypt Horrors, it's not very functional damage because they didn't lose any models. You can see Otto's just falling so far behind now. Fury's being summoned out to try and help lock down the number 3. Hellscourge Marauders rallying and moving over there. And the Forsaken, look how beat up they are. They've got no value either. It's so brutal watching the Vampire Counts just kind of run away with it against Slaanesh. Definitely a really difficult faction to beat in the head-to-head. But hey, I mean, these characters that are super immobile but have lots of supporting auras and heals can oftentimes really trip people up. You're not necessarily prepared for Gorst to get the 2,000 value and then, like, heal cap everything that's fighting underneath him. That's the kind of stuff that can really add up quickly over the course of a game. And get out of hand before you even realize what exactly is going on. Big frontline engagement. You got all the Forsaken of Slaanesh just motoring up into the front line. You know, with their purple pimp claws. trying to take down some of the undead bone boys that they've got standing in their path. Hellscourge Marauder's going to pile in behind that, and the Crypticals immediately decapitating quite a number of them. Grinding really well out on the flank. The Crypticals have really improved over the course of the game's lifespan. They've been pretty mediocre, even in like Warhammer 1, they were never really a particularly strong unit, but some of the subsequent buffs that they've gotten in Warhammer 3 has definitely made a big difference for them. You can see the Seekers are piling in, but there is the Balefire Corpse Cart giving magic and flaming attacks to everything, and the Seekers are just getting absolutely melted as a result. They have no hope of being able to survive all of this ferocity. You can see there's just a casual, like, close to 50 Crypt Horrors just milling about here, doing their terrible, terrible work of ripping into all of the infantry and stopping all the mobility from being able to have any high-impact charges, and Slaanesh is just going to run out of gas here. That's going to be a very dominant win for Gondola here. Really well-handled push. I mean, just getting up on the number 1, waiting, building up your Crypt Horrors, and then going for it, and getting right up in the face of Riz, who I really do feel like ceded a lot of opportunity here. The Horsemen were doing a little bit of damage, but a lot of it was focused in on the White Kings, who are fairly resilient with the 110 armor and a shield, even on the horseback. I don't see the Javelins doing enough to really make or break the game based on that skirmishing.
One of your units has been destroyed.
And I think you probably want to leave the Horsemen unengaged behind your front line. That way, when the undead come screaming up and start contesting the number 2, you've got the Javelins set up so they can hit the Crypt Horrors in the front line from safety with full ammunition, and they can actually finish them off at that point, maybe.
I knew it.
I think that'd be about your best odds. Oh, Demonettes and a Keeper of Secrets. Oh, damn. Okay, I get what you're saying, Twist. That's a shame. Yeah, two Keeper of Secrets would have actually been really good against this Vampire Counts build. Because you can just bum rush with double Keeper of Secrets into that early opener from the Vampire Counts here, because they don't have enough to save Helm and Gorst. While Nakari and the Keeper are just pummeling Gorst, you've got the White Kings and the Vargulf, like, hopefully trying to kill one or two of the big single entities, but they aren't going to have a very good time of deducing which they need to focus on. Because by the time they've worked down one, the likelihood of Gorst being dead at that point is pretty high. Keeper of Secrets, I believe they're an anti-large specialist, so Gorst is the perfect target for them on that cart. So it'll hit fairly consistently, and then you've got Nakari doing the same with the Wit Stealer's Sword. Willing Prey is pretty nice. And then you've got really low leadership that you can use Soul Siphon to punish with. Okay, a regular Keeper of Secrets is not anti-large. I guess, yeah, it's the Exalted version that is. But they've still got great stats. 60 and 50 with 500 weapon strength is damn good. Plus the charge bonus, and you get Acquiescence and 2 lashes. Definitely pretty nice. Plus you get Glamour, so you're lowering melee attack by 5. Okay. It's pretty cool. It's okay, Otto. Don't worry about it. If you're here in chat, the rule break is not that big of a deal. It happens. It was unintentional. It was a really good effort. But Gondola's just kind of been all over it today. We do have a finals match just about ready to go. Okay, damn, it's been going by so freaking quick. Let me hit up SEPA real quick so we can get the live finals, and then we'll do as many replays as we can in the time I've got available to me, because I do have, like I said, chores and other nonsense that I don't really want to do, but don't really have any options but to engage in today. Damn, Rowdy has actually been taking people to town here. Making it all the way to the finals. Really good performance getting all the way here. No easy task. There's some really good players on the other side of bracket, too. So we'll see if he's able to take SEPA down. It's going to be a tall task. SEPA really is incredibly good at this game. Just doesn't play a tremendous amount in my experience. I think it's usually a little bit more engaged on the land battle side of things. Is this password? Hell yeah. The classic 1, 2, 3. So SEPA is playing Dark Elves in his Malekith. I do remember that. Commissar is on the Empire, and I believe is playing Gelt. What's Gelt's requirements? I'm not going to forget this time. I promise. I'm very sorry about earlier, guys. Leaving the screen blocker up for my second round game was not it. I'm gonna be a little bit more mindful though for the remainder of stream, so we don't run into that same issue again. So it's a Hellstorm rocket battery, 2 Pistoliers or Outriders, and 2 Handgunners. Gonna be the requirements. And what maps are they potentially playing on? Pure Road, Halls of Carrick Doom, Needle Mist Isle, Whirling Maelstrom, and Dusted Steppe. All of those are good maps for either or. They're fairly open, a lot of maneuverability, not too congested either, so the Empire's forced artillery unit is going to actually have a decent chance of success. Because there's not really going to be too many shot blockers that it has to worry about. Like, Halls of Carrick Doom is probably the one that the Empire wants to play on the least here, just because there are quite a few shot blockers you can hide behind away from the rocket battery. Dusted Steppe would be pretty good. Even firing into the forest in the center of the map, you can get some pretty good damage through. It's not super dense, so most of the rockets can make contact. Imperial Road is ideal here for the Empire. I imagine that's SEPA's first ban. My guess is that we'll see a game on maybe Needle Mist Isle or Whirling Maelstrom. Although maybe they are going to do Dusted Steppe, because they got it selected here. They should be done with the map ban phase by now, I would imagine, and they are probably building their armies. I have seen Commissar do really well with the Empire before, and is very skilled with going after opponents who are maybe discounting really wide Empire builds. I've seen them have a lot of success with really stuffing people up and playing off of the backs of their like archers and Free Company militia and just basic Empire knights. And getting incredibly consistent value out of all of those tools. Nah, Sipa is the Total Tavern world champion. Nobody knows it though. You know, that's like a secret. You can't actually go around telling anybody that. It's classified information, you see. We got Old Mally. We've got double Cold One Chariot, which is you know, an interesting unit to have to bring in. I don't honestly hate Cold One Chariots though. They have gotten buffs and they're a lot better now. It's just a shame that Scourge Runners basically do the same thing, but a little bit better. The Cold One Chariots are really purely anti-infantry, while the Scourge Runners just have a more versatile role, which usually works out a little bit better for the Dark Elves as a result. But we got a pretty nice front line. We just got a ton of great swords, 2 handguns. I actually really like basic handgunners for the Empire. They've got some serious sauce to them. A couple spearmen are looking to maybe form a battle line to protect the Hailstorm rocket battery. And we'll see where the rest of the army goes. 2 pistoliers out on the flank as well. And it's Plague of Rust and Searing Doom, the old standby, is available for Balthazar Gelt at a Walmart near you. Malekith is coming in on the cold one. Okay, I like it, actually. I've seen people use Malekith on the cold one before and do some pretty good work with him. It may not be as flashy as the dragon, but it is actually fairly affordable to have Mally on this thing with Soul Stealer. It's basically like having Malice, but Malice doesn't just get tar pitted for a million years and never get to do anything. Malekith with Soul Stealer is generally able to maneuver a little more freely because people don't want to blob up on him and then just get absolutely hammered by this spell. It is incredibly strong. It does so much damage. Plus the heal is nice. No final transmutation for Balthazar is, you know, you might want to hang on to it just for spell utility, but it does cost money. Empire usually has fairly decent methods to kill these single entity targets. Lacking the spell to do so is really not that big of a hindrance. It's just going to come down to a question of value trading, man. Is the Empire going to be able to get enough work out of the Hellstorm batteries to really make this game click for them? Good volley here, actually making contact with the Dark Riders and the Bleak Swords, but you got a big flank coming in. Dark Riders and Cold One Knights already maneuvering up onto the side of the battlefield here, and no reaction from Commissar yet. No fire coming in from the Hergig Jaeger Corps. They're just trotting forward to their doom. The Dark Riders are going to shut down this Hellstorm rocket battery right off the rip. We do get a Free Company militia summon, but it's a little too late. This is going to be an absolute slaughter. They might get one volley off, but not even that. They just get collapsed on immediately. And you can see their HP melting under the pressure here. I would just keep the Cold One Knights engaged on this fight, and that's going to be a very quick cleanup for Sipa. And you see the Pistoliers getting pressed back by the Cold One Knights here as well, with Malekith diving deep. And the frontline fight going pretty well. You've got the Witch Elves in here killing the Spearmen. Pretty good targeting from Sipa in that respect. Witch Elves do break through. You get a good Searing Doom. But I can't help but feel like you'd much rather have the Searing Dooms chunking down the Cold One Knights here. Hergig Jaeger Corps and the Hellstorm Rocket Battery dead. For the cost of one Dark Rider, that is... that's a trade you'll take 9 times out of 10. Dark Elves all over the Empire army right now. They're really kind of steamrolling over poor Commissar right now. The Dark Riders are shutting down the Pistoliers, just continuing to keep pace with them. Pistoliers are actually fairly quick, but Dark Riders right there with them in terms of the speed. So, not ideal for the Empire with their skirmish cav all being shut down fairly quickly and early on in the game, too. You lose both handgunners here. That's also a huge loss for the Empire. No way to really hammer in the late game against any approaching enemies. It's just going to be very fair fights. And now you've got the Coldwind Chariots kind of running over the front line. Look at them bullying the Great Swords right now. Backing up those Bleak Swords and getting about 500, 600 value between the two of them. Coldwind Knights being sacked in the back line here. Against the Empire Knights, they are being hit by Plague of Rust. Just wearing off now. Spearmen being summoned at the perfect time to help these Free Company militia stay alive. Gonna get the Dark Riders down fairly quickly as they stay engaged here. Empire Spearmen are a very solid unit. They do great damage against light cavalry. And they can usually keep your opponent back and on their toes if you've got them in numbers, but the numbers are thinning out very quickly. You can see all the Spearmen over here just getting ruined by the aggressive Witch Elf play. All over those poor guys, and the Spearmen here break as they're bulldozed by the Coldwind Chariots. And that's going to be a very quick finals win for Sipa, who's going to be walking away with this one. Pretty expertly played, I would say. There just wasn't a lot of, just wasn't very good odds for the Empire once they allowed the back pressure to come in with such ease. You've really got to defend your flanks on maps where your opponent can vanguard units into forests. That's what happened with these Dark Riders. Actually, they don't vanguard into the trees, do they? Hold on, give me a sec. Where are the vanguards on that map? They're fairly far forward, but I thought there was a Dark Rider in the opener, but instead Sipa just went straight for multiple Dark Rider units as the first summons. And then pulled in the other reinforcements afterwards. Starting out with the Coldwind Knights actually was a really good move, because instead of having to spend a whole bunch of money summoning in the really expensive heavy hitters, you just bring in the skirmishers so that you can facilitate the backfield pressure early on when you see your opponent not really committing to defending these tools in the back line. Just congratulating Sipa. Sipa making it look easy in the finals, guys. I mean, that was probably the fastest game that we've seen yet. Absolutely brutal. Rudy, it's okay, dude. Don't fret it. It happens, man. Yeah, Kintama, that was the finals. Look, man. It happens. Anybody and everybody can lose a game. In Total Warhammer. Sometimes you just get caught out in an awkward spot and you don't have a way to save yourself. All it takes is one mistake that your opponent capitalizes on, like what we saw with Sipa there, to just absolutely dumpster you sometimes. I think maybe just keeping units actually back around the Hellstorm Rocket Battery would have made a big difference there. Like, instead of advancing with all of the infantry, maybe keeping the spearmen in the backfield while you push forward the handgunners, pistoliers, and the great swords could have been a strategy, although I guess that would leave the handguns pretty vulnerable. I don't know what you do. What are the other options for units? So you have to bring the handgunners and the Hellstorm. Could have brought Outriders, who are the AP repeating gun cavalry. They do pretty good damage. I could see some good stuff coming out of using those guys against the Dark Elves. Oh my god. Yeah, rip everybody who had to fight Sipa, because that was a dominant performance in the finals. So I can only imagine how some of these other matchups played out. Let's do a few more of these replays. I'm not going to get to all of them, but I do really want to see a couple of these before we go. One of the things I'm most curious about is the semifinals match. Where is it? Here it is. So it's Sipa going... Oh my god, look at this build from the Dark Elves. I got the double Blackguard of Nagorond here. Instead of the Cold One Chariots, bringing the Blackguard of Nagorond. And going for the repeater handbows. Handbows are actually really strong into the undead because they shred through the HP on Crypt Ghouls and Crypt Horrors. Plus, they can put a little pressure on the corpse carts. It's a little harder for them because they are fairly short range, but the other two aforementioned targets are going to be really nice value on those handbows because they use about a third of their ammo, I think, to take a Crypt Ghoul down to less than half HP, which is a great position to leave them in because those Crypt Ghouls, man, they've got a decent chunk of HP, but their weak armor and low melee defense does tend to leave them very likely to just get absolutely obliterated by mobility if they get charged down. You see Malekith coming out very aggressively. Sipa just sending him straight forward, targeting the black coats, just maybe, you know, giving Gondola something to focus on. There is a little bit of mind games involved in these early stages of the game with positioning. In, like, trying to bait your opponent into thinking that you're going to go for a particular dive or style of strategy that you might be trying to just fool them with. Beautiful breath attack, by the way. Down to about half HP on those Crypt Ghouls, and now you got the handbows really poking in against them. They are going to pull back, and the Dark Elves are going to be obliging and not overextend themselves. Just going to be motoring away a bit, while the Blackguard of Nagorond are going to get in position to hold the points here. Great engagement onto the corpse cart. With Malekith, not a lot to punish him right now, and he does actually have the Supreme Spell Shield and Destroyer. So these are actually pretty cool items. They're very, very rarely used or brought. But Supreme Spell Shield just gives 20% spell resistance, which is actually pretty nice, so Gaze and Agash is going to be a lot less powerful against you. Plus the Destroyer, which lowers your opponent's spell resistance in an aura whenever you get it on the activation. So what you can do is you can dive Gorst, pummel him a little bit with the dragon, obviously, and then pop Soul Stealer as the White Kings and Gorst are trying to all engage and, you know, chip down old Malekith. You can definitely do some pretty ridiculous work that way. Gorst is not on his cart here. He does not have his enslaved brothers helping him out this time. Look at him running around. He's so... he's honestly not the most horrible looking character on the Vampire Count's roster. He looks fairly normal compared to the basic Necromancer, in my opinion. You know. He's got that, like, he's got that gaunt, devilishly, handsome kind of style going for him, I guess. I mean, he probably does not, he's probably not a very appealing person to be around, but at the very least, he's, the least, hideous looking of all of the Vampire Count's lords. Nothing's worse than Manfred, honestly, you know. The bald dome strikes fear into the hearts of even the strongest of, fantasy, figures. Gonna get a breath attack on the Konigstein Stalkers of all things. Not really what I would be using a breath attack on. They are good cap weight. Maybe that's why Seepa is trying to break them down. Most skeleton warriors and zombies and whatnot all have the regular, like, expendable cap weight, but the Konigstein Stalkers actually have the full cap weight of something like a Graveguard. And they cost 475 gold, so they're a premium unit that can help you cap points early, which can make a big difference for the Vampire Counts. You can see Malekith hovering overhead looking for targets and finds a really good one with the Unholy Lodestone. There is no mass available for Gondola right now. No Crypt Horrors. Finally get one unit trotting out onto the field. You've got the ghouls positioned around, and the Black Coach is doing a good job of helping to run down the Witch Elves. The Witch Elves not getting much of anything done here. Only 100 value on them. Really poor performance. Mortis Engine moving into the Blackguard of Nagron. This is a really bad spot for it to sit because the handbows are going to rip this thing to pieces. You can see it already coming to play. These guys are super accurate within their arc of fire. Even though they're very short range, they just don't miss many shots in my experience. And you can see their value. It's not tremendous right now, but they did get a decent amount on the Mortis Engine. And just pushing this back away from the front line fighting by itself is a really, really nice position to be in as the Dark Elves, because you're forcing your opponent to cede space and trading opportunities with this big, scary war machine. We've got Cold One Knights just trampling over zombies and then ghouls, and we're going to get a Wind of Death going down here. Seepa actually moving into it a little bit, and some of these handbows taking wicked damage, almost breaking on the leadership, but just able to hang in there. They're being chased by Skeleton Warriors. Really good situation for Gondola. Keeping these guys back with just one crappy little Skeleton Warrior is super nice. Definitely the kind of position that you want to have skirmishers in. Is being forced to use their ammunition on shielded infantry, but a good collapse from the Cold One Knights, and they just absolutely trample over the Skeleton Warriors, and they end up crumbling out, and now it allows some maneuvering from Seepa, getting all 5 of these handbow units over to the #1 objective, where they are going to lay down the hatred against the Crypt Horrors here. And you can see the damage really starting to pile up on these big, scary beasties as they are trying to trot forward. And they just get absolutely slaughtered. Looking to pull back now. Not really going to be something that they're going to find a lot of success in, though. Because there's nothing to really get out in front of this Vampire Count's army to actually hammer down the skirmish. As long as the handbows just keep away from the infantry of Gondola, they'll have free range of the battlefield and what targets they're going to be ripping into. You've got all of these Crypt Horrors here that you can shoot at. You got the Mortis Engine especially, which I think is actually the most important thing to kill right now. Look at the damage coming in there. You know, firing a crossbow like a machine gun is apparently pretty good business. These guys do have, it says they have a 12-second reload time. I don't think that's actually true. I'm pretty sure that that's taking into account that they're firing the 2 missiles, and it's actually every 6 seconds that they're firing. Because their rate of fire just seems so much faster than what it says on the tin. They do kill the Mortis engine in record time, too. Malekith is also busy bullying the character squad. You got the White Kings here doing what they can. One of them has gone down, in fact, dying here to the Blackguard of Nagron, who are able to drag him into the pits of hell. While Malekith is looking to finish off old Helmengorst. There's a little bit of mass on the field now, obviously. You've seen some of the Cryptars that have been trotting out. 2 of them have been engaged on the number 1, and Mally is able to find the kill on the Lord for the Vampire counts. No more magic, lowered leadership, and Malekith looking as healthy as ever after that Soul Stealer, giving him a nice little heal there. A little bit shy of 10% HP onto that bad boy, and Coldwind Knights come screaming down with a really nice charge onto the Cryptars to finish this unit off. Other Cryptars kind of waiting in the wings. They're on death's bed, but they're hanging in. Disintegrating out now, though, and the Coldwind Knights going to be looking for a way in. Sipa is doing a great job of just kiting around the vampires and not allowing them to get the kind of value that they've been looking for in a lot of these other games, where they've kind of sucked people up into the fights, or just been able to position tools up on the points that just can't be stolen away from the numbers that they're bringing. Being able to pick apart all of the characters is going great here for Sipa. You got 3,700 value on old Malekith here, while I'm sure the Black Ark Corsair Handbows have gotten some pretty decent work done themselves. Yeah, just about paying for themselves here. Coldwind Knights waiting in the wings, continuing to look for opportunities to engage targets. Finding a good one here. Sipa has been very discerning about when and where to engage the mobile units, and how to drag down all of the chaff. Gondola just can't replace the losses right now. All of the corpse carts are dead. Mortis engine died, or I guess the last corpse cart's about to die. It's over here getting bullied by Malekith. The Black Coach is very much alive, but it doesn't have an incredible set of targets available to it. It does get a good charge off on the Witch Elves, but now it's getting surrounded by Coldwind Knights. And these guys have excellent mass. They got 1,500 apiece, which means the Black Coach with 2,000 is going to have a very hard time unengaging from this fight here. It's kind of stuck in now. It's taking a little bit of damage, but it does find a little crevice, and it's able to get away. Then it goes right back in for seconds. Gondola playing a little loose with the Black Coach right now, but Sipa doesn't seem super worried about it. Just using the Coldwind Knights to bulldoze over the Konigsstein Stalkers with a good engagement from the Witch Elves, as they are on top of these very, very annoying, almost ghostly-looking Skeleton Warriors. I don't know what the story is with these guys. Just see that one flying past the screen there. It's a good engagement here, and actually able to remove that, which is amazing. Poor Coldwind Knights do get terror-routed by the Black Coach as their leadership gets a little low. It's gotten 1,700 value, really effective performance from it. Maybe if you use the Black Coach to bully all of the Black Ark Corsair Handbows, you can have a chance of winning this matchup. I think that might be the weak link here in Gondola's performance. I think that in the past matchups, the Black Coach has not really been a focal point of the builds. But here into the Dark Elves, and they've got so much good skirmish infantry, and even have some like decent chaff clear with like Witch Elves and whatnot. And this is definitely one where it could potentially come in and be the kind of heavy lifting unit to hammer down your opponent's skirmish mobility. It is a little tough, though. You gotta maneuver around the Coldwind Knights, and there's not really enough mobility, I guess, to facilitate any aggressive charges with the Black Coach, so maybe that would have just been an exercise in futility. But this is, you know, a pretty solid sign of the prowess of the Dark Elves. Able to take apart the vampire counts in record time when so many others have struggled in the matchup against them. And Malekith kind of showing the capabilities that he wields here. See him looking all cool and evil. Just chilling. He looks so relaxed. He literally is just posturing right now. He's aura farming. He's like, you know, I did my work. I'll just let my dragon do all the heavy lifting from here. You know, I've got dates to plan with my mommy. Got better things to do, I guess. 4,500 on Malekith. Amazing performance from big guy there. And just trouncing the entire Vampire Count's army. Outside of the Black Coach, which did good work. Everything else was just shredded to bits. Either by the handbows, or they didn't do too hot into the Blackguard of Nagaron. Good value on them. Cold One Knights paid for themselves. Just uber efficient value across the board outside of a handful of units. Really just the Witch Elves struggling there, and some of the Dread Spears as well struggling. Look, man. That's the benefit of having those big dragon characters. When your opponent doesn't have the mass to stop you, if you get aggressive onto characters like Helm and Gorse, you can really put a molly-whopping on them. That's kind of what I expected Dakari to do in that replay we saw between Slaanesh and the Vampire Counts. I think it would have worked out pretty well. Very similarly to what we saw Malekith doing this game. I think it would have been a very worthwhile strategy to pursue. He really is. Oh my god. Dude, Malekith is such a troll of a legendary lord. He's so strong. Malekith is genuinely a good lord. It's just that Dark Elves have so many other tools that they rely on and want to use. You don't see him too often. Sipa wins regardless. Yeah, Malion Dragon is like 3,000 gold, even if you pare him down to like just the bare essentials. He is crazy expensive, so I know Sipa is an incredible player, but I do like Malekith as a general rule of thumb. He is one of those Malekith is one of those characters where he either hard carries your entire army or you just straight up lose, because he's such an expensive investment. He's got to get terror routes. He's got to kill your opponent's single entities. He's got to hit big soul stealers to keep himself healthy and work down his opponents. There's a lot that really needs to go right for Mali if you're going to be using him. We just saw one of the best in the world do it here, though. And yeah, this is Malekith with just Soul Stealer. I actually do like Gaze of Malice. It does pretty big damage to Chaff. It's got some uses in some matchups. Supreme Spell Shield was kind of cool to see, and then you got the Destroyer also, and that's, you know, a fairly inexpensive Malekith in a nutshell. Had 3,100 gold, which is a big investment, man. So every last bit of value that you can squeeze out of him is essential. Dude, Khorne is fun on ladder. Khorne has a lot of really good matchups on the maps that are in ladder. They're a little restrictive in some of the builds you can bring. Generally speaking, though, Khorne is just a really good time to me. Like, they're probably the #1 faction for just pure hilarity and power fantasy shenanigans. I mean, they're just so cool. Khorne aesthetically is and gameplay-wise, is by far my favorite faction. So I totally feel you, Daniel. And especially on ladder. I mean, a lot of people do play Vampire Counts and Slaanesh on ladder. Khorne is pretty good against both of them. Yeah, Tangler, this is the one and only Twist. Twist, what is your, what's your unique artwork that you're going to do for folks? Is it something in particular, or is it just going to be a commission that's gratis? Because I'm very interested to see what the final outcome is. Yeah, that's another thing. Khorne is very good at the bait and switch on battle tactics, because you don't have magic. You have to be very discerning about how you take fights. It's going to give you a really good like starting point to work with once you branch out onto other factions, because you're gonna be very careful with your lords. You're gonna do a great job of preserving units and squeezing every little bit of value out of them. Once you move on to factions with magic, that's where your skill set on Khorne can really blossom into being, you know, like a very, very high-level, well-rounded player, because magic does make a big difference for performance, in my opinion. Khorne is always at a slight disadvantage because they don't have any way to cast and kind of make up ground if they fumble at all. Lots of other factions are kind of able to press panic buttons with magic that can help them even out value if they fumble units away. Either that, or they've got some... There's some matchups where there's some spells that arguably are just win buttons. There's not really anything too egregious like that now. Doombolt's probably the closest to being that. That's why the spell as a whole is just banned, period. It's too good at facilitating Lord Sniping for Wood Elves and Dark Elves, who are already really good at those strategies. But, you know, like, Vampire Counts get wrecked by really good Vortex spells. Grand Cathay struggles whenever there's magic that can, like, hammer their mobility, like Searing Doom. Stuff like Uranus Thunderbolt can also be pretty devastating to their really tightly packed infantry. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this game, dude. I really love the Legendary Lords format because you get to see a lot of uncommon choices. The meta isn't super rigidly defined in this game, but there is a tendency to see some very, like, settled archetypes, if you will, in terms of build options for players. Here, though, we're going to get a scrap between Cathay and the Empire, who... Honestly, I don't really know how you play into Grand Cathay as the Empire on a regular basis. Probably some Hochland long rifles, and I actually do think the rocket batteries are a pretty good choice. Now, the thing you need to be worried about with the rocket batteries on this map, and against Cathay especially, is the artillery. The cannons, Grand Cannons for Cathay have pretty great range. I mean, 450 is actually longer range than Dowie cannons are. So they could collapse, or not collapse, but gain enough ground on this Hellstorm rocket battery to start lighting it up fairly fast. But Commissar, the really heads-up play, immediately pulling back behind the shot blocker. You could literally just keep this thing here, and I think it's got enough reach to still hit the middle of the map, which will be really incredible stuff. It's definitely going to allow the Empire to play a little patiently here. They don't have a front line that can really scrap with the Jade Warriors and the Gnag Grenades. Celestial Dragon Guard are out on the field, who are pretty dangerous to cross paths with nowadays. They're a much better unit than I think people give them credit for. And they do have the elite infantry cap weight nowadays. So some shots coming in from the Hellstorm rocket battery, looking to hit the crossbows and getting a great volley. Big damage going down. 11 models lost, so still a decent amount of firepower on these Jade Warrior crossbows here, but definitely suffering some significant HP damage. And subsequent follow-up shots are going to get a lot of collateral on these poor peasant horsemen. Scrambled Egg with a little bit of a messy repositioning on these guys into a very hazardous area of the battlefield and getting punished for it. It does happen, there's no shame in it, but you gotta avoid things like that, because little mistakes like that can really add up, because these peasant horsemen were fairly healthy, and they're really the only thing protecting this flank. I mean, something like an Empire Knight was already going to beat them, but now one Empire Knight will quickly sweep away horsemen and can even put pressure onto the cannons, if that's the route Commissar goes. I think, though, the focus will be on protecting the artillery piece, because it does seem like Scrambled Egg is a little bit afeared of the Hellstorm rocket battery's value. It's already gotten 700 value firing its volleys off, and there's not really a great way to clear it right now. It's well protected by the shot blockers, so the Grand Cannons shouldn't really push up to get after it. You got Zhao Ming getting hammered by the Hochland long rifles, although Onyx Crowmen are going to collapse in here and clean these guys up in pretty short order. It won't take too long for them to finish these poor little dudes off. Empire Infantry are pretty flimsy overall, just bad armor values being the biggest issue that they run into. State Troopers have solid stats at the very least. Hochlands, though, just get folded by just about anything. Short of maybe just like a breeze of wind or something. I do believe they're resilient enough to survive that, but Onyx Crowmen are a very strong unit. They do a very good job of shutting down the one Hochland there. Another Hochland is moving up behind all of the Pistoliers, who have done a pretty good job of chipping away at the big dragon character up in the sky. Zhao Ming is looking the worse for wear. Only 500 value on him. Righteous Lance is looking like they want to go after Gelt, but then kind of peel away to get after the Empire Knights, trying to land here and get a decisive engagement, but Plague of Rust, the upgraded version, is affecting them right now, and this is the opportunity to target with the Pistoliers against these guys. You can see that they actually have their flank open to a majority of the Pistoliers, and they're starting to fire those little, what are they? What are the pistols that they're holding look like? Yeah, they're like the old school matchlock pistols. It's kind of cool. They have the aesthetic of those like early modern horse riders, Reuters, where they used to perform what was called a caracole, which was the practice of pistol-like cavalry. Like, because the warfare in, like, the 1600s was set up so that you had, like, pikemen inside bricks of, like, or surrounding, like, bricks of handgunners and stuff like that, and arquebuses and musketeers. These pistol cav, the way they used to function, like, historically, is they would, like, ride forward and they would fire their shots off. They would wheel back, and in the time that their opponent was reloading, they would very quickly reload their pistols, run forward, and fire again. And they could keep up a pretty steady, consistent pace of pressure because of that. That's kind of the vibe that I get from the Empire Pistoliers. You know, they've got that very Renaissance kind of aesthetic about them, I guess. Well, that's about around the time that you started to see firearms become a lot bigger of a mainstay in historical battles. Also pretty cool to see them just have traditional heavy cavalry, of course, though. Empire Knights getting a crushing charge on the Onyx Crowmen, doing a good job of saving the Hochlands. These Crowmen were pretty beat up already, but they probably could have killed this Hochland long rifle unit if they were allowed time to kind of sit and grind against those guys. So the defense of the backfield from Commissar has honestly been pretty impressive. Righteous Lances just can't quite pull it off here. They're getting poked viciously right now by the remainder of the Pistoliers. Some of the Pistoliers have gone down, but there's still a decent number of them on the field and available to punish. And Grand Cathay, you know, is looking like they've got a decent, hold on the number 3, and they did take the number 2 finally. They're just down in points by a pretty significant margin, and the value is really not looking too clean for them. The Empire looks fairly gassed, but I do think at the end of the day that with the Hellstorm rocket battery continuing to thin out the numbers of infantry that Cathay has access to, and beautiful Searing Dooms hammering these Jade Lancers, both units getting pummeled by that spell cast. There is potential that the Empire will fairly quickly re-secure control of this middle point, although it does appear that there is a mass terror route going down right now, and a potential huge break for Scrambled Egg, looking to find a way to get resettled and pull out all the stops, just to hammer down these Hawklands, and then maybe behind that you pull in your Jade Warriors to secure the objective and just stand pat on it. Couple Free Company Militia trotting out to the number 3, another really nice Searing Doom. This one fairly well dodged. Nangao Grenades got away from the worst of it. But Gelt is just waiting in the wings. I'm sure he's got more Searing Dooms and Plague of Rusts. It's such cheap spell casting. You usually are going to get a solid number of casts off per game. Hellstorm Rocket Battery looking to move forward and even hit the Grand Cannon. We'll see what kind of damage it can do to them. It's got 1,500 value, almost equaling the value of both of these Grand Cannons combined. So really nice stuff for the Empire right now. Looking like Scrambled Egg is evening the value out a little bit. It's a razor close game right now. The Jade Lancers are coming out in force. There's quite a few of them left. You've got a tattered unit in the backfield chasing down Pistoliers. Does get isolated by an Empire Knight. Pistoliers on the other side of that fight might be able to break those guys. Another nice Searing Doom here. This time the Nangao Grenade's not able to avoid it. Jade Lancers taking a little bit of collateral damage. And the Empire is just looking to figure out a way to regain the momentum here. They've looked like they were going to be walking away with it for a moment, but now that Cathay has kind of blunted the Empire's pressure on the points, these are the kind of games that can slip away from you. You've got 1,000 value lead, but where that actually is showing through is totally up in the air, and you've got to consider that Gelt has taken no damage here, just about. He's not the most expensive lord in the game, but the cost of Gelt is probably about the difference between Scrambled Egg and Commissar right now. Plus, you've got a ton of damage poured into Zhao Ming, and that does kind of speak to how exactly you end up in this scenario where, despite having a lead, you're pretty well pushed off a majority of the objectives. Somehow, though, Cathay is losing the points here. They're barely holding on to the number 2. The captains have done a pretty good job of forcing Cathay to continue holding units up on the middle here. Not able to push off and engage elsewhere. Jade Warrior Halberds moving in, Celestial Dragon Guard up on the point, a Peasant Horseman securing the number 3. They desperately need these objectives. They really can't afford to leave them for very long. Another triple cap by the Empire would probably ice this game in just a minute or two. I don't think Scrambled Egg is going to have much wiggle room on losing any objectives in the future. And the Empire captains should probably just sit on the number 2 here and just go charge whatever they can get their hands on. Probably after the Peasant Long Spears and the Jade Warriors right now. Hellstorm Rocket Battery continuing to rack it up, man. 2,000 on this thing. Just got a nice hammering blow in against these 2 Jade Lancer units as they were kind of left to eat it. Onyx Crowmen on the flank with some peasant horsemen attacking all of the swordsmen here for the Empire. Searing Doom about to come down, and the peasant horsemen are going to get hammered by this. Onyx Crowmen are right there with them in the heart of the cast, taking about 2,000 damage in total. Looking the worse for wear from it all, but the Empire Knights just continuing to perform very poorly. Not really able to get any good engagements against all the Jade Lancers, and especially Zhao Ming. Zhao Ming has been used excellently by Scrambled Egg to continue breaking up the advance of the Knights here for the Empire. Every time the Empire Knights get into a fight against the Jade Lancers, Zhao Ming is right there with his compatriots, causing the terror routes that we keep seeing over and over again. Captains versus Zhao Ming. Zhao is very exhausted. His melee attack is down to 35, which is pretty abysmal. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish the Empire Captains off right now. They are fairly annoying units for how cheap they are. I think with just the double Empire Knight with nothing on them, they're 500 gold. And I imagine they've probably gotten about that much in this game. This one only has 276, and the other does actually have 500 thereabouts. Gelt waiting in the wings, lots of infantry up on the number 1, Pistoliers just chilling behind that. One of them could be unsummoned, gotten about 841 value, which is a pretty good performance. Empire going for a bit of a man-tied strategy. I think realizing that the cavalry just isn't the way to go with the double Great Cannon on the field. Pushing up Free Company Militia and Spearmen, continuously pressuring the number 3 objective, so Cathay is not really able to settle the way I think they really want to. Cathay does not like pushing into opponents. They really want people to only have to come to them, because, you know, they're very dependent on the harmony. Once you're constantly moving your units around, it gets very hard to make sure that you've got the spacing mathed out appropriately so that the harmony is always active on your units. You can see a big blob of Cathay units over here not having the stat increases, which really does limit the utility of the Cathay forces. They desperately need to have the harmony active so that they can value trade. But looks like Scrambled Egg is actually going to tap out here. I think there was a little bit more fight left to give, but I think Scrambled realized that there was just no way to grab this outside point. And the middle was just taking entirely too long to secure, and Zhao Ming can only be so many places at once. The terror routes were really effective, but his actual value was a little negligible for his cost. What did he end up with? Like 1,500 only. He is about 2,400, I believe, with his Van Braces and Dragon Breath, which is really all he needs. Him not performing that well is a bit of a huge letdown, honestly. It would be nice to have seen him do a little bit more damage in melee combat, but once he's tired and exhausted, Zhao Ming just does not have stats to really scrap like some of the other big single entities in the game. Yeah, pikemen would be really cool. I'd love to see that in the game. I think that you could give them to the Empire or something. And they can have, you know, like a proper phalanx type ability that, like, sauces up their charge reflection or something. Maybe makes it a little bit more difficult for units to push into them. So that you've got, like, an infantry unit that can actually hold back numbers for the Empire. That'd be fun. It's a commission. Okay, cool. Yeah, Kintama, the Thunder Tusk, when it came out, was just literally the most busted unit in the game. The reason the Thunder Tusks would get, like, 5,000 value is because they have close to 10,000 HP. They have all of the benefits of being a Stonehorn, plus they get 2 anti-large attacks, and they get the big snowball that they fire. There's a hunter with a javelin and a hunter with a harpoon launcher on top of the Thunder Tusk. So not only is it a long range and close range anti-infantry tool, it was also vicious and close range and long range anti-large targeting as well. You add on to all the ogre healing, as I think Media's mentioning, and they were just unstoppable. Plus, they have like 6,000 mass, and there's no way to really lock them down in combat. The Thunder Tusk was broken. It's crazy. Limiting them to 1 now, even after the nerfs that they've gotten, is still borderline, because some of the other underlying issues just never got changed. CA has done this a couple of times with units. The balancing priority is good for the most part, but there really are a few things that they really let slip away from them in their consideration for the general power scaling. Like when the Hellforge Bellowers came out, that unit came out at the same time as the Thunder Tusk, and was arguably just as oppressive, because it had entirely too much range. Hellforge Bellowers now is a really good unit, but it having 160 range is a lot more reasonable, because you can actually punish it now. When it came out, though, it had 280, which is basically just another artillery piece, and it was it was even better against infantry, because the vortexes were also mega sauced. It got a damage nerf to the vortexes, and it lost a bunch of range, so now it's a lot more even with everything else. Yeah, the Thunder Tusk got nerfed, but it wasn't anything too crazy. I'm pretty sure it lost reload skill and maybe melee defense or something. I don't think it was anything too noteworthy, honestly. Yeah, I'm going to have to dip out of here in just a minute, but I just want to kind of look at this thing now. It's 2,300 gold, so it's an investment. It does actually have 10,000 health. It's got more HP than a frickin' Stonehorn. Which I think is just so silly, dude. I mean, it's got a great charge bonus. It's a little bit less fast, but it's got all these freaking slows. It's got slows aplenty, so it's hard to disengage from. Even though your unit might be faster at base, just the fact that it debuffs your speed by 30% in an aura plus the frostbite means if a Thunder Tusk gets on you, nighty-night if you don't want to be fighting it. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, sometimes you don't need to make a unit anti-everything. I think specialization is a little bit more of what CA needs to be leaning towards when it comes to the unit balancing. The Empire Captain is 350 gold with nothing on him. Are you serious? They're literally as cheap as a Spearman unit. They really are. That is crazy business. Alright, I mean, hell yeah. I'd spend that much on an Empire Captain any day of the week. They're not bad. I mean, they've been power crept by some of the other combat foot characters in the game. But for just like a basic human rando, it's pretty solid all the way down. You probably want to hold the line on them if they're that cheap. Because that does raise leadership and melee defense, which is very useful for the Empire. State Troopers are fairly resilient, but their 60 base leadership can get pushed around a little. Having these dudes to like raise up the leadership and melee defense, keeps them that ever bit more survivable, so that the Empire range tools can finish off anything nice and scary. Alright guys, before we go, let's take a little gander at the current Legendary Lords Tournament standings. You can see all of the advanced lords here. You've got 6 now. Lots of folks eliminated, obviously. All of Khorne eliminated. We lost on Morgur today. A couple of other people have played Khazrak and Torox and got eliminated the week before this most recent tournament. I'm gonna play Beastman again, hopefully. Maybe we can play Malagor. If I can't play that, then I'll do Be'lakor just for the memes. I actually really enjoy playing with Be'lakor. He's really strong. It's just really expensive. But yeah, that's what you're looking at. You've got some options left in most of the factions. Only Khorne, Chaos Dowie, and Warriors of Chaos are fully eliminated. Any others? Tomb Kings are hovering in with just 1 left. So there's not a lot of lords left to pick from. I think there's going to be like 1 more qualifier, and then we're going to be getting into the big all-out brawl for the top spot. And that's going to be really interesting to see, because we're going to have Boss Toss, we're going to have Charix, who was on Orion and Ariel, which was a really cool set of builds and games from him. Seepa will be there with the Dark Elves, and we got Dangler here. Did lose in the finals, but the 2 finalists are the ones who advanced. That's why there's 6 people, as opposed to just the 3 folks who actually won the qualifier events. I think it's a nice little reward for the people who put in all the work to actually get into the finals, to still advance even if they lost those games, because it's hard enough to take home tournament wins. And they've kind of proven themselves by, you know, bringing some fairly off-meta units for most of the lords, and still managing to put up such good performances and make it so far. So we'll see if anybody is able to pull off some upsets. When's the next qualifier? On Sunday. So over for Nurgle. Yeah, who was the Nurgle Lord? I didn't even know. Oh, it's Kugath. I don't know. Kugath's kind of scary. He definitely can get dunked on, though. Rakarth. Yeah, I think that you should just keep Rakarth available, because I saw that somebody wasn't able to show up, and I don't think it's very fair for Rakarth to get punted like that. Gotta give him a chance to show out. But yeah, Kintama, show up for next Sunday's qualifier if you want. It's gonna be another good time. I'm super excited. I'll be casting it as always. In between now and then, I'll try and do a few streams so that we can get some of these other replays from today going. Some of the other new player tournament games from yesterday as well. And then a little bit of practice. You can always do with practice in this game. There's so many permutations to matchups, you're never going to be an expert until you've seen it all. And that takes a long time, so we'll get around to it. Anyways, thanks for tuning in today, guys. Super appreciate it. I'll see y'all on the next one.